So, with the advent of social media and it blowing up so much, I think in the legal space, what we will see is a lot of litigation in relation to contract law. And just like I had suspected a few days ago, I did see a video. So, allegedly, someone had done some work and their intellectual property, whether it was pictures or videos, was used more broadly than they had signed up for. And now they were surprised and didn't know what to do. So a lot of the times in contract law, or our perception of contracts, is that once you sign, you are bound. So on the face of it, that's true. A contract is a reflection of the terms that you have agreed to. But there are exceptions to the rule, in that sometimes there may be fraud, there may be duress, there may be misrepresentation, and those factors can either cause a contract to be dealt with like it's void, or it can render it voidable. So basically a contract can be treated like it's not valid and things like that. So when you find yourself in tricky situations like that, it is important to always get legal advice. So it's not always that when you sign a contract, even when, yes, you read it and whatever, there are some situations where you can take it to court and the court can look at it to see. For instance, there's something called unfair terms of a contract, where ideally contracts should have a fair balance between or among parties, and where there is such an unfair balance, it can be taken to court to question those, and someone may actually get compensation for the unfair terms of the contract. Obviously, contract law is very dynamic with many. You know that question where you want a direct answer and then you're always getting it depends. Contract law tends to be like that. It has a lot of it depends situations, but it's not always a dead end. For influencers particularly, it's very important to pay attention to the clauses. Pay attention, and for instance, I'll talk about one situation like what has become very common now, where I don't know why this excitement is there with pornographic videos. So if an influencer has a pornographic video that has circulated, you find that they lose brand deals, and they lose those because of certain morality clauses that have been placed in a contract. And now, because it's so broad and it's so vaguely couched, they can escape a lot of responsibility towards you just because it was written down. So it's important for you to always look at what is in a contract. But even if you're on the other end, where a contract has already been signed and you see that it's an unfair term, there may be prevention is better than cure, even in law. But where you find that there was an imbalance of power and there's an unfair term of a contract, and unfair terms is not loosely used, it's within the scope of the law, then it can be checked. So yeah, look that you're not giving away your rights completely. Make sure that you understand the scope of your work, the intellectual property, that this exclusivity that has been placed in the contract is not so broad and vague. For instance, if you influencing for an alcohol or a drink, right? They can say you can only influence for us if you are doing this with us. While people do drink different types of drink at the same time, I can have a fruit juice, I can have like a squash. It shouldn't be such a big deal. So just look out for that and reasonableness. That's our law tip today in celebrity law news and the influencer edition.